Hello and good afternoon and good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and CoffeeStream number 318. It is a Skep Talk day. I am getting the link to him, but since I am late, I just wanted to go live here so that people weren't waiting longer. I'm just jumping over to Twitter here with the link for Skep Talk. And we should be good. Oh, come on. Not notifications. Direct messages, you stupid. So, I would have started the stream like 2 minutes earlier, but Chrome, in all its infinite wisdom, kept closing on me. Whenever I would try to get to the StreamYard account or StreamYard page. It was very frustrating. Okay. I think I have everything in order now. I do have everything in order because there is Skep Talk. Hooray! Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. I did go live just because we're going late. So
I saw that. I figured that's you're trying to do a little bit of get to the audience
yeah.
as soon as you could.
Yeah.
So
Get this. I go to start up Chrome and everything, and it just keeps shutting down on me. Like keeps closing.
mm-hmm.
Every time I would get to the go to the Enter Studio button, and then Chrome would just close on me. It was very frustrating.
Did you have to reboot your PC?
Thankfully, no.
Mm.
I reopened Chrome and it just had a restore pages button. So.
All right. Well.
So how are you?
No, I'm doing very well. It's
it feels like it's been ages.
Yeah, I had one of those days that makes you realize that yesterday that makes you realize that those days when your life is boring, those are good days. I the several things happened. I had a flat tire while I was driving my car. I mean, a blowout. And it's so I had that to contend with. Then my father had a stroke.
Oh fuck! Is he okay?
Yeah, he is okay. He's actually back home already from the hospital. It was nothing serious. Probably just a precipitous loss of blood pressure, but it got very low. They had to take him to the hospital in an ambulance and all that kind of stuff. And 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 then my credit card company calls me up and says somebody's stolen your identity and has run up $50,000 worth of expenses. Is this you?
You're kidding me.
No, that all happened yesterday. So that was my day yesterday.
Oh my god.
And but in fairness to the credit card company, and this was Citibank, I got the feeling that they have been having this conversation with a lot of other people. I think they had a data theft because they called me up and said, "Hi, we're calling you because we've seen some unusual activity in your account. We want to verify if it's actually you." And I said, "Okay." And they said, "We've halted your account because you had $50,000 suddenly of expenses last week, and you've never had anything like that, and you've had the account for more than 20 years." And I said, "Yeah, that's not me." They said it's in the Seattle area. I said, "It's definitely not me."
Wow.
So somebody's buying stuff. They wouldn't say what they were buying, or they said we just since it's not you, we're not going to discuss it any further. We're going to wipe this off your account. There's no harm done, and you know, I had to change
Wow,
my
that's lucky.
I had to change my password. Forced me to change my password, which is not a problem. I can change it periodically. Uh, and But yeah, that was kind of exciting. So between that, Dad having a stroke, and I thought when the day started, a flat tire. Boy, this is a lousy day. My biggest problem was a flat tire. I thought. Then as the day progressed, it just got better and better. So
One
anyway,
of those days where you're like, okay, can I go to bed now?
oh
And
man,
when I wake up, everything will be fine.
it was it. I just felt like, uh, you know, thank thank Keck for my health,
Mm.
and my uh, general, even keeled demeanor that I can usually take. I know what serious shit is. The only
Mm.
serious thing that happened yesterday was Dad, maybe suffering a health problem.
Yeah.
Flat tire is an irritation. A bank problem like that is just a pain in the ass. Sitting on the phone with somebody, for a while, ironing stuff out, and anyway, it makes you focus on what's really important. And
Yeah.
if it's not an illness in the family, it's not important. It's pretty much where I come down on that.
I'm glad your dad's home though.
Yeah,
That's good.
he's doing fine. He's not even in. He lives on his own. It's in an assisted living facility where that care is available if you need it. But he lives in a little condo by
Oh, it's one of
himself.
those types. Okay. Yeah, we
Yeah,
have those up here too.
and it has a gradual thing that when he ultimately does require assistance, they literally will just move his stuff to a different part of the facility, and he'll be under skilled nursing
Nice.
24/7. And if he goes the way that my mother did, and we really got our money's worth from it for her. She had 7 years of Alzheimer's,
Oh.
and that's when you move into the the strangely named Liberty House, because you're about to have liberty from this life.
Mm.
And they are, I mean, there is literally a skilled person with you at all times.
Wow.
So and it's a clean, brightly furnished, very positive, happy facility. It's not a God's waiting room kind of thing.
Awesome.
So anyway, yeah, I'm real lucky to have that from my parents. It's much better than, I'll probably just have the barrel of a 9mm in my mouth and say, do not resuscitate.
How do you resuscitate when your head's blown off?
Exactly. There's just not much to resuscitate really. It kind of settles the issue.
Let's see who's in chat here. We've got Costin and Mr. Dax
Pete's there.
and Pete and Irate Prostate and Pincolo.
Yeah. Some of the usual suspects. Nice to see you
Mm-hmm.
guys there today. I saw a couple of people retweeting the invitation to your to the CoffeeStream, who are they're political friends of mine, but they
Oh,
have not normally been interested in this side of my life. So it's kind of cool to at least see them publicizing your stuff. I don't know if they're showing up or listening passively, but if you're out there, welcome.
yes.
Happy to have everybody. And I'm inching up in my follower count on Twitter. I'm at 19,800. Went over that this morning,
Nice.
and I just want to 20,000 is kind of a milestone. I just wanted to see how big a number I could make. That's
Yeah.
basically the game. That's the game I'm playing. It's people say they play games. This is my game. My game is how big can I make that number,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of a fun thing to do. I don't take it that seriously. It's not a tremendously socially significant number in terms of the amount of action that I get for any one tweet that I do. It's not like thousands of people are responding to everything I do, but it's just kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah. Gunfox, hello. I have taken on the.
Oh, Maddie's here.
Wait, I have taken on the mantle of doing
That's Maddie.
coffee talks when Tuesdays and Thursdays when you don't blind press, as I can now stream in full capacity on this channel. Oh, awesome!
Yeah, so this is Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie says
because I heard you say Gunfox, and this is
No.
Maddie. She said, "I have taken on the mantle of having coffee talks on Tuesday and Thursday when you don't stream Blind Press, so I can stream at full capacity on the channel now." Well,
That's awesome.
that's very cool, Maddie, and very considerate too.
Yes.
And so, everybody should tune into Maddie's Coffee Talks on Tuesdays and Thursdays, by the way, on the Madwoman Media channel. If you'll hit me up with the time, Maddie, we can publicize that. And
I'm glad they fixed your channel there, Maddie. That was really frustrating.
You'll listen to Maddie and Ronan and some of her friends over there. Very fun. Let's see. Gunfox says, Skep Talk, Twitter will ban you soon enough. You have wrong think. Yeah, you're not wrong, Gunny. I do have wrong think, and I don't speak the double speak like Jack wants us to. 11 a.m. Central Standard Time is the Coffee Talk on Madwoman Media channel. So that's MWM Media. Just search on that in Twitter, and you'll be directed right to it. And excellent that they've fixed your channel.
Yes.
Every once in a while, they accidentally blunder and do something right. Yeah,
I know.
They consider it a mistake, but there you go. So, at any rate, what's it been like? 2 or 3 weeks since I've streamed with you? It's been like 2 weeks.
Well, I did come on on Tuesday for like. What?
Yeah, no. I meant during the day.
Oh, here, it's been a while. Well, because Logan was sick.
Yeah, Logan was sick, and then you were sick,
and then I go sick, and we've also had like all of these strike days.
Yeah, and I've missed the Star Trek stream for one reason or another. It's either been postponed or I've been doing something else. Did I?
Yeah.
Anyway, but we're going to get all that back on track, boys and girls. We're going to get the Star Trek stream back on track. And are we doing my picks
tomorrow? Yeah.
So be sure and tune in to the Star Trek stream tomorrow. We'll show that at the end. Yeah. But in other news, the president has been acquitted.
Yes, he has.
And
to nobody's surprise except the Democrats.
And the interesting thing is that the Democrats are now saying that they are going to come up with new charges. And they plan to just do this again until something sticks. And I think the public is going to get tired of it.
Because Einstein must be rolling in his grave going, did nobody listen to my thing about insanity?
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That doesn't, it's not really the definition of insanity, by the way. That it's a characteristic of insanity. That's a thing by which you can identify insanity, but that's not the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
The definition of insanity is having thoughts that don't relate to one another, occur seemingly in relation to one another.
Grillin' Pirate Pete, has Polly ever apologized for missing the day that was his 2 picks? I haven't heard from Polly.
Yeah, Polly is like, was it Brigadoon? That's the land that shows up periodically, you don't find it, it finds you. The mystery. Do you know what I'm talking about, Brigadoon?
Yeah.
what was the deal with Brigadoon? Uh, it's a was like a Lerner and Lowe musical, and it's a mysterious Scottish village that appears for only one day every 100 years,
Right.
and it's the story of the play is the story of Tommy, one of is this tourist, and he falls in love with Fiona, who is a young woman who is from Brigadoon,
Mm.
and so forth and uh, so on. So, but there's a really famous song that came from that. I can't think of what it was. Almost like being in love. That's what it was. Almost like being in love.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, it's kind of like almost like being insane. Um, Gunfox says, let them keep impeaching him. And, I'm with you.
Polydub. Oh,
We're getting tired.
Pincalo said he took on Saturday night that he took a random month off of streaming.
And Pink Owl's opinion is he's been sick and not saying anything.
Yeah.
His vertigo is pretty bad in December. So
that could be.
Whatever it is, we wish Polly well, and he's a very entertaining guy when he does show up.
Yep.
Hope he'll come and grace our stream another time. But that's the thing. If they try, Gunny's saying if they try impeachment over and over again, it will tie up the Senate for a year or more. We'll only manage to piss off the average voter who works all day.
Yep.
Yet, as a libertarian, I like the idea because it means the Senate will not be passing more laws and making more crimes. So it's kind of a strange way to keep government small.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's happening is that the American public is beginning to get tired of the Democrats' shit. They're like the whining kid that just won't shut up in an airplane.
Yeah.
And you can't get away from the whining kid. And after a while, that's all you want.
And to carry on your analogy, the kid that is waving the stick around,
yes,
being obnoxious,
yes,
tends to be even more tends to be more appealing than the screaming child.
Yes, exactly. That's well said. Well said, exactly.
Because you're sitting there looking at the obnoxious kid going, wow, what an asshole. But god damn, that other child's annoying.
I want to kill the other one.
Yeah.
I want to throttle the little bastard just to shut him up. So anyway, the Dems are kind of taking a twofold approach to not winning the election. They're impeaching the president periodically and pissing everybody off that way, and they're leading light for the nomination is a communist. Bernie Sanders is a communist. He's not just a socialist. He'll admit to socialism. The deal with Democrats is if they say they're liberals, then they're socialists. If they say they're socialists, they're actually communists. You always go one over to the left from what they admit. And so
exactly.
They are absolutely and positively petrified that Bernie's going to take their nomination because it's a really tough sell for him to beat Trump. And there's two things that work there. First of all, a lot of the party is not really behind Bernie.
No.
There's a big chunk of Democrats who are just going, I don't know. Libertarians kind of looking good to me, or Greens looking good to me. I can cast a moral vote and not have to be behind a guy who has been in politics for 25 years. He's been in the Senate for how many terms? 3 or 4 terms, and has never passed a piece of legislation. Not one significant piece of legislation has his name.
Seriously, he's not passed one thing.
One. He literally has just lived on the public dole. It is essentially an extremely well compensated welfare recipient.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean he has done nothing. He's contributed nothing, literally nothing. And in terms of that, it actually puts him middle of the pack among the Democrats because most of what the Democrats do is bad for the country. But he, he truly is an indolent piece of crap, and he's going to be their nominee to run against a guy who has rocketed the black unemployment rate to the lowest it has ever been in the history of the rate,
No.
in the history that we have ever had of the black unemployment rate. It's never been this low.
Mm.
It's never been this low. Not only that, here's another interesting statistic that has come out recently, and that is that poverty wages have taken their biggest jump up since that number was kept.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So the poor are doing better. This is the rising tide that does actually lift all boats. Now the
Right.
Democrats will say, "Well, all these guys, look at all these billionaires. Let's take their money away." No, no, no. That's not smart because uh, the money that made them all billionaires is the result of an economy that's doing well. That's
Mm.
doing well for everybody. So if you're working, you're doing better right now than you ever were. And the uh, the they have to depend on the people who feel victimized by anybody who is doing better than they are. And
Yeah.
that's a sizable number of people, unfortunately. But that
See,
it's a much less healthy mentally group of people Democrats are than Republicans right now.
the problem I think with I don't think it's that we're not earning enough money. I think that it's that the cost of living is so fucking high.
Well, your cost of living in Canada is artificially high
Yeah.
because you have eliminated competition from too many parts of your marketplace.
Mhm.
When that happens, you have cartel behavior, you have monopolistic behavior, and you have government price setting behavior, all of which end up being bad for consumers.
Yeah.
So, you know, um, anyway, so there are a lot of things going on. It's making it look like Trump is going to be reelected, and the $64 question is: will he erode the majority in the House of Representatives to the point where possibly in another 2 years the Republicans could take the House back?
Probably.
If that happens, okay, then you will start to see things like it's going to get kicked around whether or not Nancy Pelosi gets impeached,
Mm.
because you can impeach a sitting member of the House of Representatives.
Okay.
If you want to do this, if you want to get this on, you know, Trump will be the head of the party, and he is a very, very authoritative head of the Republican Party.
Yes.
And if he says, it's all a function of whether or not he chooses to be vindictive that way. What he should do is just let it go, just be the bigger man. But
I don't see
I
Trump
don't,
being the
I,
bigger
I don't,
man.
I don't see that at all. It would be a happy surprise, but I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, Trump is not the type of guy. He's not the high road.
Yeah, yeah, no, he's quite the contrary. If there's a high road and a low road, Trump will be looking into how much would it cost to build a tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where he goes. So yeah, he is so peevish and so reacts so much to a slight or being not being supported or being betrayed. Boy, he just is one way about that.
Yeah.
At any rate, but the Democrats have just completely made fools of themselves. They've come to be symbolized by the doddering Pelosi and the shrill Schiff that and the nattering squad, the idiot squad. Uh, that's another thing that may happen is it's looking like Ocasio Cortez. You have to say her name,
Yes.
in the proper uh, inflection. Um, Ocasio Cortez is going to have her district gerrymandered out of existence,
Mm.
and when they redraw the districting lines, she will sue, of course, and she will get her ass handed back to her because those that suit will be settled very quickly.
Yeah.
And that, as they say, will be that. That's how that's how Mrs. Pelosi's mob works.
Yep.
Mrs. Pelosi is not happy with your behavior recently.
We, I
She got a
noticed.
problem with you.
You know what's really funny
Yeah,
is Adam Schiff. I was listening to the impeachment stuff, and he kept saying that things that what Trump is doing is putting an asterisk on the you know on the fact that he's just doesn't care about the Constitution, and he kept saying asterisk, 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 and
yeah,
I went, does he mean asterisk?
that's what he meant.
And I'm like, is he standing in the House of Representatives saying asterisk
Yeah,
with a straight face?
that's the new right way to say it.
And I'm sitting there going, okay, you know that the impeachment process is getting stale when you are picking apart the way the speaker or the manager of the house is speaking,
Yeah,
because it was just so funny that he was unironically he just kept asterisk asterisk very very seriously and angrily, and I'm like, Mr. Schiff, I think you mean asterisk.
yeah. He Adam Schiff is a he pretty much defines the term political hack. He's an ideologue. He's more of an ideologue than a hack. Actually, did you see James Carville's comment on Twitter?
No.
He came out and said that this is very dangerous for the uh, Democratic Party to put up a communist as their nominee.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Look, I'm a liberal hack. That's what there's a lot of reasons I love James Carville, not the least of which he's married to Mary Madeline. Uh, but Carville was a Marine. You
Right.
know, he's a Marine. You never stop being a Marine. He's a Marine, and he's served his country. He's put his mouth money where his mouth is. He's done the hard thing, and he and I disagree about policy, about size of government, role of government, things like that. But he's the kind of guy you can have that disagreement, you can have that vigorous debate with, and then go out to dinner with and enjoy his company. You can be
Right.
friends with somebody like that, and he wants to have that back, and I really respect that. That's the kind of Democrat I wish that inhabited the House. Now, unfortunately, that kind of Democrat is very attractive to a lot of people and can get elected. That's how Jimmy Carter got elected. Basically,
Yeah.
was he sold himself as that kind of Democrat. Then it turned out he wasn't really, although he had a lot of people in his administration who were like that, and they were decent people, even though he turned out to be not a decent person. He masquerades as a decent person, and he's got the Nobel Peace Prize, which he, lobbied for years and years. He finally got his. It's almost like a good conduct medal for him. I'm
I
sorry, I go
find I find most people that do put themselves out that way
Uh huh.
tend to be masqueraders.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So
There's that certain like that there's that certain amount of charm that certain people slather on that
Yeah.
it just rings your alarm bell,
Yeah.
that you're like, okay, why are you trying so hard to be nice?
Exactly.
What are you hiding?
And yeah, that's alarm bell. I think that goes off with a lot of people. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right. Just want to say good morning to Green Badger
Yes, hello, Green
and
Badger.
Dax. Dax
And
is here,
yeah.
and um, Skep. I'm sure he would love to be your Valentine. Yeah, the incomparable uh, Brenda, my wife Brenda, is my Valentine. She's my permanent Valentine,
No.
and I got her a really sweet card, and she got to take that to work with her today. She,
Nice.
uh, uh, we don't make a big deal out of Valentine's Day itself
Yeah.
because if you want to go out like in to a restaurant or something, uh, they kind of see you coming for one thing,
Mm-hmm.
and the other thing is there's just zillions of people. So in a few days, I'll take her out to dinner, and we'll celebrate then. On a night when you get decent service and
Pincalo and I just don't like crowds.
well, yeah, that's
So we just don't usually go out to eat. Like, and not to mention we don't have the money often.
well,
But
that's the thing is as an expense, it just doesn't. My wife is a gourmet level cook.
mm,
She can cook like Sanguine cooks,
mm,
and so can one of her daughters. So if we want a nice meal, we can have a better meal than you could find in almost any restaurant. For certain types of dishes, anyway, just at home. And so, yeah,
well, and
exactly.
she can cook it the way she likes it and the way
And the
you
way
like
we
it.
like it, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's the thing. The only thing is, my wife has some unreasonable prejudices with regard
Oh
to
dear.
food. Okay, for one here, this will make you laugh. One rule she has is no seafood.
I'm with her on that one.
No fish. Do not bring fish into this house. And I mean,
Oh,
that's
see,
like,
no, I'm not like I tell Pincalo because he goes, "I wish you would eat fish." I'm like, the boys, at least Alex will.
yeah.
So if you feel like having fish,
Brenda will not even have the
buy it.
frozen
Just
French frozen breaded fish sticks in the house.
oh no, see, I will if Pincalo and the boys want sticks and fries,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can have fish sticks and fries. I won't have fish sticks.
Well, now, and Brenda will make homemade French fries that will
Mm.
make you weep. They're so good. They're delicious. They're French fries that are actually delicious. And just fried this light oil. Oh, they're just amazing.
When we used to be like we had there were times when we were stupidly poor. Like the 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 financial issues that we are having right now are like we have actually food in the house right now. There were times where we would just have a bag of potatoes.
Right.
And Pancalo can make the best like homemade fries or chips. He used to
Yes.
make chips.
That's how people learn how to do that. That's
Yeah.
how Brenda learned that. She grew up poor. I can tell you stories that would literally make you cry. Literally would make you cry. And uh, she learned how to stretch money like you can't believe.
Yeah.
So it's the same exact thing as what you're talking about.
That's how I learned how to make my scallop potato casserole.
Exactly. You know.
Oh, I want to make that again. Except I
Yes.
have no cheese.
Well, Brenda said, it's amazing what you can do with potatoes, water, and just a little salt.
Yeah.
So, anyway, uh, the uh, what else did I want to talk about? There was something else that Mac put in my actually put in my feed. I wanted to. Sorry for not having this.
Oh,
queued up.
while you're doing that,
Yes,
everybody run over to Irate Alex's Twitter and give him some love. He's been
absolutely,
dealing with some health issues.
absolutely.
And go tell him Blind Press sent you to cheer him up. He's he's a good guy, and this is some scary stuff that's been going on. So I'm sure you guys, if you guys haven't, he's got a video up on his Twitter. And if you've heard him speak at all before, he sounds completely different.
He's a good guy, and
Oh shit, you did just buy a brick of cheese. What the hell am I talking about, Pincolo? I could make scallop potato casserole tonight. I should totally make scallop potato casserole. It'll never get it'll see, and the thing is that we're like, oh good, there's plenty for leftovers, and there's never leftovers because
I
it's
was
so tasty.
exactly just hoover it down as soon as it gets made. I know exactly what you mean. Scalloped potatoes, there's just something special about that. You ready for a
Oh
different subject?
yes, I'm gonna eat my computer if we don't talk about something.
All right. British ISIS brides. Yes, this was a bride of ISIS. This was a British lady who got caught up in the happy, joyous celebration of ISIS and went over and married one of the bastards. British ISIS bride's initial bid to regain UK citizenship rejected by court.
Good,
Wah,
good.
wah. Jemima Begum fled London to join ISIS, and now she's pregnant and asking to come home so she can have her third baby. She British ISIS bride Jemima Begum's bid to regain her British citizenship was rejected Friday at its initial stage, according to reports. Begum, 20, she's 20 years
Oh
old,
my god.
was one of three East London schoolgirls who traveled to Syria to join the terror group as a jihadi bride in 2015. Her citizenship was revoked a year ago after she was found living in a Syrian refugee camp. Begum wants to go back to the UK for therapy after the deaths of her three young children in Syria, Sky News reported. She claims she has been left stateless after her citizenship was revoked. Last year, Begum uh, insisted the terror group, quote, brainwashed, end quote, her into believing everything she was told. Quote, I have sat down and thought about how long I would have to stay here, and I have kind of accepted that I will have to stay here. I will have to make this like a second home, she told the London Times. Since I left Baghouz, a previously ISIS held territory in Syria, I really regretted everything I did, and I feel like I want to go back to the UK for a second chance to start my life over. I was brainwashed. It's only lawful in the UK to strip a person of their citizenship if the person is entitled to citizenship of another country, Sky News reported. The Special Immigration Appeals Commission, which hears national security cases and issued Friday's ruling, said she could instead turn to Bangladesh for citizenship. Her lawyer argued that Begum, who's of British Bangladeshi heritage, was not considered a national of Bangladesh and therefore rendered stateless by the deprivation decision, the news outlet reported. You know, here's the thing. You had a good thing. You had British citizenship
Yeah.
and you pissed it away. And you said some amazingly hateful things about Britain and the people in Britain. And now you want to come back?
Yep.
Piss off. You're done.
Yep,
See you,
exactly.
goodbye. You know, some people's karma is that their lives will be a warning to others.
And like, I'm sorry that her children died. Like,
Yes.
that's terrible that her kids who were babies and had no say in any of this.
Yep.
But you did, and you left
She
and
was
put
15 years old when she fled to Syria.
Jesus Christ. How did she even do that?
Oh, you're allowed. You can emancipate in Britain because the children, right? Anything for the children.
No, but how did a 15-year-old get herself from Britain to Syria?
Yeah. Oh, there are people who will pay your way to send you there, and there are all kinds of mischief things you can get into as long as you stay loyal to the cause. And she got over there, and her kids started to die, and she had second thoughts and wants to come home. But she's you know, uh,
And there's shit like this up in Canada too. There's a bunch of women that left and went over to Syria, and they're like, we want to come home.
yeah. If you say there are no consequences to the act of doing that, then you make it so that there are no consequences to the act. You can do that and get away with it if
Yeah,
that's what you want to do. And it's important to have consequences to uh, what amount to crimes. These are crimes, at least in my opinion. May not be official violations of the law, but it's a criminal spitting in the face of your country to join its avowed enemy, the enemy that wants to conquer it and destroy it and enslave its citizens. Uh, no, that's wrong. So anyway, that was a good thing that I thought that Britain did. I thought it was kind of a happy story. So I wanted to get that out there.
so
Uh,
what consequences would you give to a teachers union
oh man,
that has been striking since fucking November and is now amping it up to rolling strikes every day?
it's here's an interesting thing. Back in the day, there was an occupation in the United States that was considered to be absolutely essential. You had to have these people. It was a matter of life and death. You know what they were? They were air traffic controllers.
Hmm.
And because they were so vital to people's immediate life, liberty, and health, I mean, if the air traffic controller struck, if they walked off the job, people in the air are going to die.
Yes.
Very, very, very possibly could, all of a sudden the possibility of having an accident gets very, very high. And so when they went on strike, Ronald Reagan did the unthinkable. You know what he did?
Hmm.
He fired them. He fired them. He fired all the striking air traffic controllers. They said, well, you're going to regret this. And you know what? The ones that didn't strike picked up the slack and did an amazing job. They showed heroism in filling in the cracks and saying, okay, we're not going to let America down.
Yeah.
And the ones who got fired, when they realized it wasn't going to work, they came back and said, okay, we're sorry. We want a second chance. And you know what Reagan said?
Fuck off.
Fuck off. Exactly. Do it today. And they did not get a second chance. They never worked as air traffic controllers again. And that, as they say, was that. Lesson learned.
Yeah.
That is what Canada should do with the teachers. They should probably pick, one particular area where they think they can, pull it off and get
Well,
the children reassigned to other
it's not a
schools.
federal thing, right? It's a
I mean, a
provincial
provincial
thing.
thing,
So,
and that province should fire them.
yeah, I agree because
Yeah.
this is getting stupid.
I
Like
think executing the teachers is going too far,
Alex missed
but
two
not
days
much too
this
far.
week.
Yes.
and 3 days last week. And so far, he's going to miss 1 day next week already.
That begins to have an effect on the children that is not different from firing the teachers. If the teachers aren't there to teach the children, let's get rid of the teachers who don't want to teach and get some teachers in there who want to teach.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a solution? I mean, that's what it sounds like to me.
They're not even doing report cards this right now.
Screw them.
Like
You know,
if I was a high school student and I found out I wasn't getting my report card, I
I
would laugh in the face of any teacher that asked me for my homework.
well, yeah,
Straight up, they'd be like, "Where's your assignment?" I'd be like, "Where's my fucking report card?"
yeah. I'm even worse than you are. I would be going up to their cars with a water balloon full of gasoline and just throw it on there and then light their cars on fire. Ha ha ha!
Mm,
Give me my fucking report card, asshole. Sorry, but I'm a militant.
Homeschooling, it sucks on you, but it'd be better for them probably. Well, see, but the difference with homeschooling is like homeschooling is expensive for sighted parents. I would have to figure out how to get their materials in.
You would have a very difficult time homeschooling.
I would, yeah.
You just would, because so much of what you do is dependent upon the ability to see. I mean, you would. Actually think you would have to have a helper.
Mm.
That's just my opinion. That's an uninformed opinion. That's just me thinking about it. That's what it would occur to
Well,
me.
especially for the like in the math stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, anything beyond simple mathematics, I would have a very hard time teaching it.
Yeah. I mean, we run into that, like in in a part of the United States called Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
The government only recognizes numbers up to 19. It it doesn't
Wait, what?
it doesn't recognize numbers greater than 19.
Um,
And they just refer to anything greater than 19 as lots.
okay.
They also don't recognize fractions because they can't figure out, that whole thing with the line is just too hard. So it's actually against the state law to use the word 20.
Wow.
State of Arkansas, yeah, it's true.
Pink Kalos says the angry single mothers I see on TikTok are starting to say it to Doug Ford to just give the teachers what they want. I don't want that. Screw the teachers. Yeah.
That's interesting that they're that's a very interesting thing from Pincalo, that their instinct is to give up. Doesn't that strike you as funny?
Yeah.
I mean, and kind of wrong.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like what I would be pushing for if I were like if this was truly about the special education
Yeah,
people and truly about protecting those teachers, and truly about the amount of children who have actual violent outbursts in public school.
oh, sorry about that. I don't
That's
know
okay.
why.
I would push for more um, schools that are specifically geared for those children that are severely learning disabled slash autistic slash whatever, and
Yeah,
to
man.
make them um to make them free of charge the way that the W. Ross McDonald School for the Blind is.
I'm sorry, I missed a lot of that.
So
Yeah,
what I'm saying is, if this was truly about the special education
yes.
factor and truly um, protecting these special ed teachers from violently, severely violent autistic children. Um, why don't they push for more schools like residential boarding schools like W. Ross McDonald School for the Blind for these children so that they can get the education they need, but the regular children can get the protection that they need, and the special ed teachers, like, look, why are they not pushing for that shit?
Fair enough. That's a fair question.
Because it devolved into, we need a higher cost of living adjustment.
Yeah.
It came out as, it's for the money.
Right. It's always about the money, though, isn't it?
Yeah. It's so frustrating because like, Alex loves school.
Yeah.
And I, he asks me, why is there no school? And I may be angry at his teachers and the teachers, but they still have to deal with him on a daily, like, when he's there. So if I undermine them, I'm set up for I'm setting him up for failure because I've undermined them and now he's not listening, and then he's gonna get Mike or Pink, sorry, I'm reading Pinkalo's chat. He said, I thought you said residential school. You did say residential school, didn't you? You can't say that. That's a bad, 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 naughty word.
You can't say that anymore. You can't separate the broken children from the normal children.
No.
Okay.
Integration is bad. Some of these kids were taught separately because they have different needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
like, it's okay to have different needs. And it's okay to accommodate them. What's not okay is to accommodate them at the expense of the majority.
I'm locating something back here that somebody evidently called me a pork chop. And if somebody actually called me a pork chop, may I say that that is uh, that's a nice deep fetch.
RVA.
RVA. Okay.
He's the supply corps. He was the ex supply corps guy.
He was. He was in supply. Yeah, because uh, the collar device that supply corps officers in the Navy wear it's an oak leaf cluster,
Mm.
and it is shaped like a
A
pork
pork
chop.
chop.
And the other reason that they refer to supply officers as pork chops is, and I literally did this. When you've been in port for a while, the first day out at sea, everybody is sick. Everybody, virtually the whole crew, at least, is queasy. And so,
Really?
yeah, and
Even if you're
even if
accustomed
you've
to
been
it?
in the Navy for 30 years and you got salt on your salt, okay, it doesn't matter.
Weird.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, the the everybody's everybody's middle and inner ear work the same way, and so you get used to dry land. And now the thing is, guys who are salty, guys who've been in the Navy for a long time, they acclimate very quickly. They feel a little bit queasy, during the day, and then they're fine. The people who are, not used, people who haven't done this before, get really sick and they're miserable for a day or two, before they get their sea legs. Guys who have been in the Navy for a while get their sea legs back very quickly. But everybody feels bad the first day, that first day when you're out at sea, especially if there's a pretty good chop on the water.
Mm.
So here's what you do. As the mess officer, is the guy who gets you get a certain number of, they call them ration credits.
Okay.
That's the monetary allowance. That's what you're allowed to spend for a meal. And I had to feed 400 guys at a time. I had to feed in 400 meals and 4 meals a day, because there's 4 meals, uh, because the ship runs 24/7. Uh,
Mm.
so you feed 4 meals a day. That's 1,600 ration credits a day.
God damn.
But basically, about half the crew is not going to eat one bite of food the first day out. But you still get the full 400 for that meal. All right. So what I would do is I would fix the greasiest pork chops, and that's where the word comes from, because you can, there's a armed forces recipe for pork chops that they're just sitting in a ladle of grease.
Oh,
I mean, they're actually pretty delicious. They're really good, but it's greasy, and it's not what you want if you're feeling nauseous, if you know what I'm saying.
yeah.
And so you fix that, but you only fix like about a third of the usual, and you'll still have leftovers. You'll still have leftovers. Even if you fix a quarter of it, you'll still have leftovers. And because very few people will eat that meal, they'll smell that grease coming out of the kitchen. They won't even go near the mess decks.
Mm.
And then what you do is you save those ration credits so you can afford an expensive meal later on. You can have steak and lobster, and that's when the
Ooh.
crew will love you. That's a good move to do as a supply officer. So I literally used to do that. And I used to love it when I would, bust out we're having surf and turf, and they dug on that.
So even if you, because I've gone on boats on like the Great Lakes
Yes.
and stuff like that. I've never been on an ocean, like a boat on the ocean.
Okay.
So, but I've never gotten seasick.
That's
Um,
that's yet.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. What's the difference between, because the Great Lakes are pretty much freshwater oceans. They've
Oh
got,
yeah, and they have really, God, Lake Superior gets 20-foot seas, 30-foot seas even. They get there's the there's nothing magical about the ocean to where that's where all the hard weather is confined. It's the
mm,
most violent weather you can sail on is in the Great Lakes.
yeah.
So yeah, there's but you can get seasick in a 5-foot chop. It just depends on how you're feeling, the way that your inner balance, all that complicated neurological stuff reacts to it. You can you can get sick. Let me tell you, once you've been seasick, you will know the feeling. You will be, it will be unmistakable what that is.
Mm,
And because I've been seasick, I've been seriously seasick long before I was in the Navy. I used to go out fishing on the Gulf of Mexico,
right.
go fishing for redfish out there, and uh, every once in a while, there'd just be just enough chop, and I was just a little kid too. I was like in
Mm,
the eighth, ninth grade, and I just would get sicker and shit. It just,
mm.
you know, it just happens. I don't know all the mechanics of seasickness. I don't know if blind people might get a break because you don't have the horizon confusion
I
that
was gonna
sighted people
say, I
have.
was wondering if it's maybe because I can't see the horizon.
That might be part of it. I don't know enough about that to
Because I
know
know
for sure.
that, like, I can read a braille book in the car and not get sick.
Yeah, and let's see.
But the weird thing is that if you, like, it used to be really bad when I was younger, but if if I'm standing in front of somebody that, you know how if you get like a nervous person that's always looking around when they're speaking,
Yes.
that fucks with me.
All right. Well, here we go. Do blind people get motion sickness or seasickness? Yes, blind people too get motion sickness, because motion or seasickness doesn't have to do with anything with the eyes, but is related to the ears. The human ear has a motion sensing apparatus known as the labyrinth, also known as the inner ear. The structure of labyrinth is very similar to a snail, and the apparatus is filled with fluid which tracks our motion. So any movement in the body disturbs the balance of the fluid in the labyrinth, and too much disturbance can cause dizziness and motion or seasickness. So there you go. And
Hmm.
that's from the internet. That was on the internet, which means it's true because, of course, they check.
Yeah,
You can't put just anything on the internet, you know.
Pincalo is a good point. He says Blind Press has only been on 20-foot bass boats and smaller. That is also true.
A small craft, though, they pitch a lot. I mean, you know, if you uh,
She has never felt the earth tilt where you walk on the bulkhead.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Pical.
Walking on bulkheads should be an Olympic sport,
I
says
hear you, brother.
RVA.
I hear you. I hear you, my brothers.
No, I've never been on that type of pitch before where I'm walking on the sides of the boat. That's
Yeah, yeah.
but
That's
I've been on these small crafts since I was a baby, like
yeah,
unclipped in my car seat.
yeah. And some people get seasick more than others. Some people are more prone to it than others. Arvis says 23 years in the Navy, and he was only seasick twice. You know, and I was 5 years in the Navy and never got terribly seasick.
Yeah.
Uh, but I've been on fishing boats, and that was the worst experience of my life. Was on a fishing boat. Yeah, I've never been that seasick before since. So, you know, it's a funny thing. Uh, but yeah, it can happen to people. I was going to bust out another news story if you wanted to,
Sure.
uh, and that was. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. I've I've lost it, and I can't. Oh, here we go. Uh, this is the Twitter users background check.
Oh,
This,
great.
background check report highlights the dystopian practices of the modern era. Problematic tweets, even ones that were only liked by the users, are documented. According to its sales pitch, Los Angeles based FAMA, FAMA, is a quote, leading provider, end quote, of background and identity checks of employees. So this is a firm that goes out and checks people's background and who their identity is and who they are. Are they really true? Are they truly who they say they are? The company promises to scour people's social media accounts looking for evidence of what's termed problematic behavior.
Oh my god.
Now, I want you to store that phrase away because not only this, but Fama claims it's using artificial intelligence to achieve this goal. A smart way to screen toxic workplace behavior. That's a quote from their brochure. However, if the background check Fama carried out on Twitter user, and then this guy's name is KML Frank, is anything to go by, the company's methods, at least for this, are accused of being anything but smart. A series of tweets showed some of over 300 pages of the report that Fama is also physically prints out. So, uh,
Wait,
he,
a 1200. Wow.
yes, they a series of tweets showed some of the over 300 pages of the report.
Oh, 300.
Yeah,
Still.
it's still a lot. I had to get a background check for my job, and it turns out the report is a 300 plus page PDF of every single tweet I've ever liked with the word "fuck" in it.
Are you serious?
You can't make this stuff up.
Oh my god.
This is from the internet, also, so it's true. The user, who goes by the name Bruise Almighty, like Bruises
That's
Bruce
funny.
Almighty, on Twitter said that the report revealed every single tweet I've ever liked with the word fuck in it. But there's more. In the format showing flag type, good, bad, flag, reason, alcohol, language, bigotry, etc., and
Oh my
post type,
god.
liked, etc., the report reveals results that suggest the background checker is simply using a simple pattern matching algorithm. And then it has a picture of the thing, and it says, this thing was flagged for, it has the word alcohol in it, and this guy liked it. Okay, and so the flag type is bad. the flag type can be good or bad, and then the flag reason is alcohol. It had alcohol in it, and the guy liked something with the word alcohol in it, therefore he gets a bad flag. Okay, here and so forth. Here's one with bad language in it, and he liked it, and so forth. This is really
Jesus.
this is really annoying. Looking at the examples, words and phrases are matched to bad behaviors, completely unaware of context, without taking into account whether the post is a joke, whether something is said sarcastically, etc. So you have to wonder if a summary of I've got to get my report. So you have to wonder if the summary of an employee's character based on the incidence of negative flags without context could cause harm in the real world, not to mention be pretty useless to the employer.
Yeah.
Because this is it's absolutely without context. That's the key. That's the big deal. Anyway, he explained that their employer requiring this background check is the Episcopal Seminary in Berkeley. They just merged with Trinity Church in New York City, who hired Sterling Direct to do the background check work, which and they are partnered with FAMA. Many commentators were taken aback by the dystopian invasiveness of the checks, but equally by what they thought were the bad quality of the results. Exactly. This is caca. So you're seeing,
It's like a 12-year-old did a background check.
exactly.
Ooh, there's mention of alcohol in here. Ooh,
Yeah.
somebody said fuck. Ooh.
Right, exactly. That's and that's the way the left is kind of parsing, particularly if they know that the person is conservative or libertarian. They will parse their things literally without giving them any benefit for sarcasm or allegory or and they will award them no context whatever. They'll just pull everything out in as negative a light as they possibly can, and that I think that's a little bit of what's going on here too. So I think that's kind of sad to see, actually.
Green Badger says, "Get a Twitter account." They said it's fun. They said.
Right, exactly. That's perfect.
A Puritan's wet dream, says Mr. Dax. Yeah, no kidding.
Man, no kidding. Are you kidding?
And Irate Prostate says it's the back door to a social credit system. Not wrong.
He's right. He's right. And China has already implemented a social credit system, and it can delay you or prevent you from traveling or using. You can try and people with the wrong social credit score go to the train station, try and get on a train. They can't get on the train. And if they hop the turnstile, that's a death penalty offense. They're taken down to the place and backed up against the wall and shot, and have their organs harvested.
What's that? You want an apartment? Oh, I'm sorry. You have too much wrong think.
That's exactly right. That's if you want socialism, that's what you're going to get. Progressive Puritans, whatever happened to free love, etc. Yet the Puritans are the new conservatives.
Yeah.
Meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Pretty much.
It really is the same old thing. So I thought that was kind of a happy story. I wanted to get that out there.
And we've come to about 1:20, and my throat's kind of getting going on a sore spot, so I think we'll stop where we are. Here. But I'd like to thank you guys for coming and watching, and I'd like to thank Skep for coming and joining me.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to come and be on here on the Fridays with Skep show. You going to show for
yes tomorrow is the Star Trek stream at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. We're doing Skep Talks favorites for Voyager, and those are Bride of Chaotica from Season 5.
Yeah.
Latent Image, also from Season 5.
Correct.
And Lineage from Season 7, which I think all of those are good picks. And of course, if you're up and awake and looking for something to watch tonight at midnight Eastern, come by Irate Prostate's channel for the Cream Stream. Pink Hollow and I are usually there as well. So you can catch some of the blind and the special on iRate's channel tonight. And of
Absolutely.
course, the blind and the special on Sunday as well. So,
Absolutely. And by the way, for those of you with an interest in Lord of the Rings, we will be doing the Lord of the Rings stream at 11 a. Or I guess we're going to go at noon on
noon central, right?
noon central on Sunday, and on we all things Lord of the Rings will be discussing the Silmarillion, more
Nice.
adventures in the Silmarillion. So please come and join us if you're interested that way. And thanks for having me on. It's I want you to get well now.
I will.
It's time.
I'm working on it.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks
Goodbye,
for coming out,
everybody.
everybody.